listen, never in my life associated the word boring with baseball.
We know what's up.
Me? Yeah. Famous? Yeah.
And I'm like giddy over there smiling like, we're about to win this shit.
Did everyone give you crap? Give me a good host story.
I'm not picking it up.
We both love the game.
We talk about it every day.
Get on baseball.
Having some popcorn, you're fooling around your phone.
I'd have to wait in line for 3 hours.
Hang on, because it's about to be a wild ride.
One of these two people I have on the podcast today, there's nobody I'd rather have on. We're going to have to guess which two. It's going to be the big mystery. It's going to be like the Da Vinci Code, trying to figure out who. We have Julian McWilliams of CBS Sports. Say hello.
Oh, I'm eating chicken soup because my daughter, I haven't eaten anything all day. I feel like I'm about to pass out. So here's my commitment to the brand.
Listen, because I have a story about myself with everything anybody says, anytime anyone eats on the podcast, I immediately go back to when Mookie Betts used to do a series of about 3 straight years of 27-minute podcasts one time a year from 16 through 18. And he would eat during them. But I always said, when they're eating during them, it's like swearing. You just know they're in the rocking chair. Just some guys just eating and talking. Just eating and talking.
Eating and talking. This is why I'm here.
There you go. You got to carb up too. There's some carbs in that bowl.
No, it's egg noodles.
Oh, look at you.
Egg noodles.
Let's go. And the other one person is Evan O'Brien, producer Evan. He's not eating. He's trying not to. He's lowering the heart rate. The Cougar has been thrown into the car with this Mets trade, there's nothing else in baseball that anybody should be talking about other than this Mets trade. So that's what we're doing. By the way, but I do want to say this. Evan, you look fantastic. Although, you got to get it. Background. Better background. Monmouth Hawks hat. I mean, you do have a
Mom, what's wrong with Monmouth?
Well, that's
great
nothing.
School.
Yeah, well, he went there. But in your backdrop, I see you have added a picture of your family.
Yeah, that was a hand-me-down from when somebody died. They just gave those pictures out, so I was like, hey, I'll throw that in the background. Very morbid. I should have taken a different route there, but yeah.
As Julian, as a TV guy, I know Julian's a TV guy now because he's eating egg noodles. It's like egg white noodles or whatever it is. He's like his jaw is like chiseled now. So yeah, I do remember. Evan, let me tell you a story about Julian. All right.
Yeah.
We're sitting there in spring training, beginning of spring training. He had to fit into his suit in a couple months. He wasn't going to fit into his suit. His grandmother's funeral.
No, not a couple months. A couple weeks.
Weeks. And so it
was like a few weeks, dude.
We're sitting there, and he's like, he's like, I got to lose some weight, got to fit in this suit. My grandmother would shame me. I got to lose some weight. So I think it came up because I look over at him, and he's drinking non-alcoholic beer and chicken wings, which is, of course, like anybody with any semblance of science, as I told him, that's not going to get the job done. Not going to get you.
Yeah, it's like when you're either going to a wedding or a funeral. That's when you really find out, oh, crap, this suit doesn't fit, and it's 2 days into the.
Oh yeah, but I don't want him. I didn't want him to be misdirected. It's like, Julie and I know some people who've given up drinking, yet they're still like stuffing their face full of carbs. It's not even playing for the time. So Julian was, this is well before his TV days. I said, Julie, you can't do that. Let me tell you how it works. Let me tell you the science behind it. So, and sure enough, what happened, Julian?
You guys said you got to cut the carbs out. So I went full Rambo. Tito's soda when I was drinking, which was every night during spring training. Tito's soda and no carbs.
And what was the result?
I lost 15 pounds in 2 weeks.
And how much did you lose in total before the funeral?
30 in total. After the funeral, I just kept losing. Dude, it was like falling off at that point. It was like melting. I got down to I lost 40 pounds.
Wow.
I was 230. I got down to 190.
All because of one conversation we had at Twin Peaks in Fort Myers.
There you go.
So now when I have to fit into a suit, I just cheat the system. I'm like, I got to get out of this. I got to get out of this.
We did. We came across. When I was doing the podcast with Jameson Tallon the other day, and we were talking about. I love okay, best shape of your life season. You're through the wedding circuit, and I feel like, and I told him because he just came back from his brother's wedding, said there should be like the cummerbund test. So like if you have a problem, take the cummerbund that you're doing all these weddings for, put it on now, and then put it on the first day of spring training. And if it's not falling off you've done a good job.
There you go.
Yeah, it's the cummerbund test. Baseball boring cummerbund test. Yeah.
You see that post of Aroldis Chapman where they put him like in like what it looks like underneath his skin, and people are like, "These City Connects stink."
Yeah. So it's Sammy from Playtastic had a great tweet. He's like, what did he say? Next year, City Connects uniforms, where all you just have is Aroldis Chapman's muscles.
Just all like the ligaments in every part of his body when he's throwing. I'm like, this is kind of wild. Did
the CBS Sports, do they tell you, they say, hey, listen, like kind of like in that movie Knocked Up, where they like just 20, just 20. We're not, you look great. We just, firm it up.
Fortunately, Rob, you got to me before they could say anything. So there you go.
That's why you were hired.
Exactly.
They would have never hired non-alcoholic beer, chicken wing, Julian. No way.
Exactly.
You're welcome. Well, look, I'm making dreams come true. Anyway, speaking of making dreams come true, there was a huge trade, and this makes everyone in baseball's dreams come true because we sort of hit this spot before the winter meetings with like absolutely nothing was going on. I was defaulting to so much WBC stuff. It was nuts. So, what do you got? Who you got? You got a dog?
Look at my wife's dog.
Oh, not your dog?
No.
I like that.
Yeah.
You really do. You decide which ones are yours, which ones are mine.
Yeah.
I didn't want this one anyway.
Yeah.
This is my emotional support animal.
What's the dog's name?
Ace.
Okay.
Ace.
Ace. Bark once if you like the Brandon Nimmo trade for the Rangers. Bark twice if you like it for the Mets. Okay.
Nothing. He's indifferent on the trade.
It's indifferent. He's like
Christ,
everybody else.
Every other time.
He has to basically like dissect it. I've seen all. So
he's looking at the money of the trade. He's like, I don't care about the players. I'm looking at how much money was swapped.
Salary ramifications.
Yeah.
So it's funny because before I get into it with you guys, so in case like we talk about, this was a gift. Marcus straight up rare, just straight up, Luis Ariz for Pablo Lopez, whatever.
And then the Grayson Rodriguez for Taylor Ward one that
two straight up trades. I love it. It's great. It's great. So, and I've seen all the reactions before we get to your guys' reactions, and they're all like a million different ways of saying the same thing, basically. It doesn't, on the surface, it doesn't seem all that complicated. Like in a nutshell, it's, well, the Mets wanted defense. The Rangers wanted offense. There you go. All right. It's much more complicated than that. And that's why I bring in you two. I don't know who wants to go first, the analytical Julian or the emotional Evan?
Evan, go first. You want to go first?
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
it was kind of a give it a shot, see if it makes any sense. Yeah, I mean, the first time I was really starting to think about it was obviously when. By the
way, stop right there. Julian, I'm going to give you a little tell here.
Oh, you could change my mind.
No. You know that Evan is fired up about this because he's like leading into the mic like I've never seen anyone ever leading the mic. It's like he's overmodulating.
Yeah.
I mean,
I get it, Evan.
Yeah.
Get it off. Get it off your chest.
Yeah. All right, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
No, all good. But the first time Adam Ottavino really had a controversial take, and of course went everywhere. Finally, I was telling Rob a couple days before. I was like, if anybody posts this online, this could
Evan
be
was
kind of
on top.
nuts.
By the way, Evan
Yeah.
was on top of this. Evan knew about this, like the Ottavino thing, well before everyone else.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I love
But
that. He's just talking. He's just on that thing, just vibing and talking.
But he first said he was like Brandon Nimmo is very like into everything the media says. So when the media started putting out like, "Hey, Mets are making him available," and they said like he like approached Andy Martino in a hallway and was like, "You put Verdugo over me in the Mets Yankees combo of like the best player at every position," and he like got in his face. So he's like, he's not a fan of when his name gets floated out there for no reason. So I think that was kind of the beginning of the end because it was like, all right, he might start getting disgruntled, and then that's kind of pointless to have. Um, so then they make the trade. It definitely is offense for defense because Simeon's obviously going down defensively, or offensively, but he won a Gold Glove. Brandon Nimmo is definitely the better hitter, but his glove is he went from like potentially the Mets' future center fielder, which is what they actually paid him for, to becoming like a left fielder that was kind of clogging up the left field spot, which Soto was clogging up the right field spot. So they wanted more flexibility there. Uh, the one thing that does make no sense to me is these lineup predictions they put out in November, where they're like, "Man, the Mets just traded Nimmo for Simeon, and now we got Ronny Mauricio as our starting DH. I can't believe this." I'm like, guys, if they stop making moves now, they should just stop, just stop even. They should just resign from their job. Like, there's no world where these guys are actually going to stay there. Like Tyrone Taylor. Probably not going to be the opening day center fielder. Ronny Mauricio and Luis Angel Acuna might not even be on the team opening day, so those are stupid. But I think the one thing that I took away from this trade, looking back on it, is right now it seems like Carson Bench and Jet Williams would probably be the other two outfielders. And my opinion is like if you're not bringing back a Pete Alonso or you're not going after Cody Bellinger, then I think this trade was stupid. But if you're just looking at it from like I don't care about what the external moves are. I think the Rangers definitely want it just from like a right now perspective. But with the Mets, if they say, okay, we freed up some money for 2 extra years, now let's get a Bellinger or let's get an Alonso or let's get a. I'm not a big Tucker, pay him $400 million guy, but it would make more sense if they did those.
All right.
Outside of that, I think it's kind of dumb.
So I like this is the ultimate. I like you personally, but all right, Evan, before Julian talks, I want to reflect when you heard about the trade. You heard about go back. What was your immediate like 10-second thought?
Like, what is going on? This makes
So you
no
didn't
sense.
like the trade. You didn't like the trade.
Yeah, no. It's just kind of funny because it feels like ever since I stopped the initial thing, I've been reading all this stuff. SNY is breaking news coverage. They're talking about like, well, here's why it would happen. Then I've kind of come around on it, being like, okay, if that means adding a outfielder that's not as shitty as Brandon Nimmo in left field, so be it. But in the interim, I was like, Marcus Semien's 35. Granted, he's good defensively, but his bat has fallen off a cliff. Brandon Nimmo just had his best offensive season, I think, overall. So it was kind of like if you're just looking at it strictly that player for that player, I was like, this is a dumb trade.
You know he's fired up when he says shitty.
I know.
Julian,
that was the initial.
Yeah, Julian, what do you think? What's going on?
Evan, I love you, man. I love the work
I like
that you
you
do.
personally. You're probably going to be wrong.
But I respectfully disagree on this accord. I get the contract situation where you're talking about, but I'm going to bring in another element. The Mets wanted to have grown up in the room, right? As much as we think that Francisco Lindor is a grown up in the room, from what I heard, he's not, from a lot of people. As much as we heard about, oh, him and Soto isn't a thing, from the people I spoke to, it is. There is a thing between those two guys. For as what you alluded to with Brandon Nimmo, he's a guy that can get emotional. You can throw Jeff McNeil in there as well, from what I heard from people who are around the team, is Jeff McNeil goes from the dugout to the press box, to the clubhouse, and he immediately scrolls for his name on Twitter, right? Marcus Semien isn't going to do any of that. Marcus Semien, and I don't want to be like this big J journalist guy, but I did cover him for a period of time in Oakland. And the thing I can tell you about Marcus, and I don't say this about many players, is that because I don't know them, but I would put my career on the line and say Marcus is a good man. That's a genuine good person. And professional as they come. He's won before. You might be able to get lightning out of bottle with one of his years where you guys are obviously contending. Your team, the team you're a fan of is obviously contending. And then, like you said, you'll get the offense. I think their offense is good enough without Marcus Semien. If it's a plus, sure. Like it's a plus having him be the offensive player he's been throughout his career, because Marcus first was a bat first guy, right? That the defense part of it didn't become a thing until Ron Washington got with him in Oakland, and he sort of changed around his entire career. You can go back to what I wrote about Marcus in 2018. It was tough to watch. 2017, forget about it. People, I mean, it was every day there was an error, right? I think he led the league in errors, and it's like Ron Washington came around and, sort of changes his career around while he's also struggling. So the thing I could say about Marcus is that he is definitely a guy that I think can take on this quiet leadership role. He's a guy that's won before the World Series, and it was old enough. Juan Soto, fine, you won, but you won when you were 19 years old, right? Like, it's sort of like Miguel Cabrera winning when he was 20. Like, how much can you really teach somebody about winning when you win, like when you just win that early and you don't ever win again? And so I think there's something to that. I think there's more depth to him. In addition, there's one anecdote I can give about Marcus. Whenever you interview people around the league, a lot of them sit down at their locker, right? Marcus, and John Shea will back me up on this. Marcus, you can interview Marcus, he'll never sit down. He always stands up to talk to you, right? This is when he was struggling, making these errors in 2016, 17, when people from Oakland say, how much do you suck? He always stood up. And I think John Shea, when I asked him, hey, what's with that? And he's like, oh, my parents always just taught me to stand up when I'm talking to somebody. So from that perspective, on paper, I don't think you guys, from what Marcus has shown this year and last year offensively, we got to be fair, he has not been good. That might be gone. But from a cultural perspective, he is certainly a guy that could lead this franchise as the grown-up in the room. And while playing solid, if not just right below Gold Glove defense, because that's probably taking a step off too. But I think you're looking at a guy that can come in and contribute in whichever way. And I think the Mets need that more so than they need a person looking at the numbers on the paper. That's just my opinion, though.
Great opinion. You're both great opinions. I will say this. And
I understand what you're saying from a contractual and numbers. Like, it doesn't make like I
the
get
two the one thing, even like the games played, which he was always a lead at. He didn't even do that last year. His numbers actually were almost identical offensively the last 2 years. So to think that he's also going to jump back into 2023 probably isn't realistic. But I don't think he needs to. Because I think, as you said, Evan, they're actually saving money. They're going to spend money. They're going to go after one of these guys. I don't think it's any question. Cody Bellinger's is actually a better fit if you want to prioritize defense, which they said they do. So one of my takes of this is everyone's screaming and yelling about Nimmo, homegrown. He's a great guy. We all get that. But like, oh my goodness, like David Stern doesn't understand. Like, this is the foundation. No, well, you know what? It's okay to blow things up. It's okay to turn things over. It's okay. Like, if they don't sign Pete Alonso, it's okay. I heard more questions, really good questions from really good Mets writers talking about how Alonso is like such in the fabric of the Mets. So So what? I mean, like, honestly, either you're good or you're not, and either you're a fit or you're not. And I'm not saying that Pete Alonso wouldn't be a fit if he went to the Mets. He would be. I mean, he would be part of the solution. All I'm saying is that, like, I don't think it's a bad trade for either team because it fits both teams. And we can't get obsessed with, well, Brandon Nimmo has been there forever, so he knows what it's like. And that whole thing about him being a leader, or what was it? What was the Adalvino thing about how Nimmo?
Oh, it was well, the other part of it, which he didn't really get as in depth in, but he was just saying like everybody was saying like, oh, Lindor's our captain. He
Yeah.
was another guy that was like, I don't know if I'd
Yeah,
say
so
that.
whatever, man. Like whatever. And I think that Julian's perspective, that's why it's so good, because I knew that Julian knew Simeon really well. And I think Evan, like, you followed Nimmo quite a bit. And I just think that my biggest takeaway here is that A, it's okay to turn things over on both sides, and B, thank you, baseball. Thank you, people. We're just doing a baseball trade. I mean, how many years we talk about this all the time? And remember talking to Falvey about that. I mentioned the Urias for Pablo Lopez trade. You mentioned the Ward for Grayson Rodriguez trade. Well, that's a little like convoluted and weird, but still, it's just here, this guy for that guy. There it is. That's it. And in this case, we're not talking about deferring money. We're not talking about saving money. We're just talking about two guys. That's it. That is it. Yay, baseball.
There you go.
Yeah.
I did find it ironic too that Nimmo's ended up going to the Rangers after being a lifelong Met along with DeGrom, and apparently he consulted DeGrom about like, so what do you like about Texas?
Perfect example. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Jacob DeGrom switched teams. Did the world come to an end? No. You know what happened?
No.
The Mets actually made it to the NLCS.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Absolutely incredible. I mean, and again, like I don't think, like, well, it did contribute, like Brandon Nimmo not being doing well, but like I think there are a lot of other names that, like, I'll say this, like Francisco Lindor, dude, you got to play a full season. Like, you got to contribute for a full season. There can't be these times where, and that's my problem with Julio Rodriguez that I had. And obviously, he had a great World Series. And I know if I'm getting a little bit off topic, but you can't be a superstar, a star in my book, and I get hot late, because you know what? Those games in April and May matter. And at that point, when you're looking up and you're fighting for your season against the freaking Marlins, and you can't put the Marlins away, guess what? Have Francisco Lindor not stop looking at his counting stats and actually, well, he ended with this. He ended with the 6th WAR anyway. Oh, who gives a crap about a freaking 6th WAR if you're not playing in April and May? He's like the Jimmy Butler of freaking baseball. Oh, I'll take off for this one, but I'm gonna get hot. Well, you know what? Getting hot, not being hot cost your team April and May because you sucked, and I'm paying you $300 million. That's the part for me that it's like that has to shift. Is like they got to get going from jump.
Yeah, and and the other thing is, like, David Stern sat there at the GM meetings, and he's like, "We got to get better defensively. We got to get better defensively." And I know they bring in Kai Correa. They bring in and okay, the only person that this whole narrative about how, oh, we're going to get better by defensively by doing things differently. The only person that actually believed that in was Juan Soto, because you have no choice. Like, you have no choice, right? Everything else, you know what it is? It's going out and getting better defensive players. And that's why unless Pete Alonso's going to be a DH all the time, which maybe he is, like, no, you go out, you get better defensive players. It's not, Julian, you and I have seen this plenty of times.
Like
the Emmanuel Valdez, like, he's out there every day taking like grounders from that ground ball machine every single day. And I still saw balls clank off his glove like it wasn't broken in. It meant, like, so I applaud you. I applaud you for working out and trying to get better. But ultimately, if you're going to become a better defensive team, like, you have to get better defensive players.
I mean, we saw that in the World Series too, right? I mean, Marcus Semien is significantly better and has more of a successful career than Miguel Rojas. But like, look, they put him at second base because they need his defense. And oh, by the way, he showed up offensively. So like, you got to look at the track record of the guy. I think you're coming in. I know I just mentioned Francisco Lindor not playing well at the beginning of the season, but I don't necessarily think that applies to Marcus. I think they're bringing him in because this is the guy that knows how to play down the stretch and into the postseason. And oh, by the way, his glove won't slump. That's the one thing that that won't slump. So yeah, I think for all sides it's going to end up being okay because at the end of the day, like you said, Rob, it's okay to just pivot on things sometimes.
Yeah, and I think that when we haven't really talked about the Rangers, but I just love. I've said this a million times, but I just love the way Chris Young goes about doing things, and I give both these guys credit. But hey, listen, we're about winning the World Series. We're about getting better. We'll take on because Nimmo's. When people first hear about this, they probably like, oh, I remember Marcus Semien signed that enormous contract. Well, who's asked to take on more money? It's the Rangers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
I think it's I think Simeon's 25 or no, Nimmo's 25 AAV.
Yeah, so he's 3 years. He's 3 years 75 and Nimmo's like 5 or 6 years left or something like that.
Yeah, because he was 9/182. So I think he's now played 4 of those. Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and Evan, I know you don't care about the Rangers, so it's like I mean,
well, no, they stunk offensively. They get rid of Adolis Garcia, bring in Brandon Nimmo. I mean, it could be worse. They had like Sam Haggerty going out there for like extended periods of time, which was crazy to me. So,
but I'm curious though, where do you think your Mets are? Like, do you think this is the team that's like? Do you think last year was just a fluke in sense of okay, we just didn't do well enough, and we can keep the same roster? Like, I'm curious. Obviously, starting pitching is one thing, but like, where do you see your team?
Well, no, I definitely, coming into the offseason, I definitely thought we couldn't run it back because that's exactly what we did last year. And I feel like we've had the same core with the exception of Juan Soto only being last year for like ever. Because it was like Nimmo's homegrown, he's been there forever. Alonso's homegrown, he's been there forever. Lindor's been here for I think like 6 or 7 years or something like that at this point. So I did think it was kind of stupid to keep running it back. So I was kind of the belief like Jeff McNeil seemed like the most obvious guy to trade just because they have a ton of young guys coming up. And also I was just like, he's versatile, but he doesn't really do anything crazy well. He's kind of just like pretty good at everything. So I always thought like, we'll definitely get rid of him. And then I wasn't really of the belief like we need to bring back Alonso and we need to bring back Diaz. I felt like Diaz was probably more important than Alonso, but I just wasn't sure who you're going after in free agency because I didn't know if like, because like some of the things they've been throwing out is like we'll have Vientos and McNeil platoon at first base to replace Alonso. I'm like, that's going to be one of the worst.
Do you think? Let me ask you guys. I'll ask you guys
terrible.
separately. Do you guys think Alonso ends up back with the Mets? Evan first.
Originally I would have said yes, but since they really are going full on defensive, I wouldn't be shocked.
But can he just DH?
He could DH, but then you got to find a first base because Vientos, if you're going full on defense, Vientos has like the worst glove I've ever seen in my life. McNeil, I don't know if he's a good first base, but you have to sign like a Ty France or something, I guess.
That's not going to work.
So that's
we've seen this happen we've seen this happen all over and over, Rob. Like with trying to platoon first base, and it never seems to work out.
Like I've seen when Julian goes on SNY, and they're like, Soto could just move to first. That's no big deal. It's like that's a shit show.
Look at that.
That's a shit show happened.
People are watching, Julian.
There we go.
No, but I think I would be rather, even though the outfield's open now too, but I would even put Bellinger and have him be like a left fielder, first baseman.
I love Cody Bellinger. I love the way.
Me too.
I love watching him play. I love like how he can play, like you said, first. For me, if I'm the Mets, that's the guy.
Yeah.
That's the guy.
Because I just feel like trading a big contract when you're like, man, that clogs up our outfield, and then giving Kyle Tucker $400 million would be and then they have to shift. They were saying they have to shift Soto to left if that happened because he's a right fielder. That would just be a shit show. I'm not a fan of that at all. But yeah.
No.
Yeah. By the way, here's a poll I just saw. People are putting up these polls. This one has almost 3,000 votes. 51-49.
For what?
Which team do you like this trade more for, Rangers or Mets?
Yeah. Well, I think it's kind of a funny thing
I thought
because
you were
like
going to ask me who had 51. Like, no, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean,
Go ahead.
He's like, I know who has 51.
Yeah.
But I think it's like Met fans are like, we love Nimmo. We know he's kind of gone to crap defensively, but he's a homegrown guy. And then Rangers have the World Series with Semien, so they like him. And then they're like, I don't really know what we're getting out of Nimmo.
I think my guess is that the Rangers fans are okay because the reality is that people always defer to offense. They always do. And when you, especially like when you keep citing like how bad they were offensively, there's nothing worse than following a team that can't hit.
True.
Oh, that's so true.
It's true.
It's so true.
All these fan bases
It's like
are like,
so
oh, we got to get
deflating.
better defensively. No. Like if you can't hit, like, yeah. No.
Jock Peterson was crazy how bad he sucked. He went from like a pretty good player to like he was hitting like 059 this year. It was nuts. It's some nutty freaking stat. But
yeah, like even like pre-Devers, like even when they were semi-okay, like not watching San Francisco Giants save my life. It's like, oh my gosh, I know you guys pitch, but can you please hit?
Yeah, nothing. So all these people, and the weird thing is to me, I come back to it, is some of the Mets fans' reactions about like breaking it up and moving on from this guy. It's like I'm not, and I'll say it again. I like Brandon Nimmo. I really, really enjoy talking to him, and I know he's a great guy, whatever, like in terms of maybe he wasn't fit or maybe he was a fit. I don't know. He's a good offensive player. But that's no reason to care about this trade. It's you got to move on. You got to move on.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and it is kind of a funny thing where it's like we got to break up our team. Well, not that guy. We got to break up our team. Well, not that guy. It's like you got to trade somebody.
Yeah.
So. You
got to break up that team. All right. Any parting shots, Julian? You?
No. You know, we got owners meetings and winter meetings. I mean, like, look, man, January is around the corner.
No, dude, this was
February.
This was a gift. This was a gift. There was zero. Like, you know why?
Listen,
this was a gift.
When you told me name a team for all 30 guys, I'm like, holy crap, this is actually going to be some work. This is okay. All right. I liked it.
It would have been good. It would have been good, but
yeah.
That was like when you had the play test, you guys picked the teams. It was like Red Sox again. Blue Jays again.
So let me just tell you why this was a gift, because we got to this spot where nobody was doing anything. I mean, nobody.
Phil Maton.
Exactly. Nobody. Exactly. Right.
Nobody was doing anything.
Nobody was doing anything. So what happens when that happens is that you can throw anything out there and everyone freaks out about it. And so like you can throw out, oh, they're showing interest, or this, they're doing this, or that, or any little thing, and everyone freaks out about it. And this is like, no, like stop it. And initially, when I saw this, I think it was along those lines. They're like, oh, they've been talking. I'm like, okay, like, all right.
Yeah, like he's been made available. Like that really means anything.
No, this was a gift because it was actually a thing.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you could have got upset about like why the Red Sox didn't protect Miguel Blaze on the 40-man roster day.
Exactly, but
that gets you fired up.
I mean, honestly, Evan, Friday we were talking about. Oh my goodness, look at the 40-man roster protections.
We could have went with what does the Brendan Bernardino trade mean for the Rockets?
Oh God. Anyway, all right. Well, the last thing is, let me give you this. I'm going to write this down. Give me the first big name free agent who will sign. All right, Evan, go ahead.
Considering the reliever market's already moved a tad bit, I'm going to say Diaz. Okay. If he's considered big name.
Okay.
If not, then I can come up with a different name. But
right.
I'd say Edwin Diaz. I don't know.
All right. Julian.
Bichette.
Ooh. With who?
Toronto.
Okay. All right.
This is he has to go back. You can't go out like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Kenley Jansen. Anyway, all right. He's lost 18 pounds. All right.